event you staged very recently, if I've got the name right, the South Texas Alliance of Mayors or the South Texas Alliance of Cities. I can't remember which.
South Texas Mayor Alliance.
South Texas Mayors Alliance, okay.
Yes.
You were the host, you are a member. Can you tell us about that group?
It's a group of mayors. It starts with Brownsville, Harlingen, myself. It's the city of McAllen, city of Edinburgh, city of Mission, city of Laredo, and the city of San Antonio. So it's all of us mayors that come together and try to kind of, listen in to what's going on, and the state level, federal level, and also share ideas and what we're running into and trying to come up with a solution to a lot of these issues. We speak about regionalism a lot, and this is a way of all of us coming together and having that one voice in Austin and Washington, and figure out different ways of how we can bring in monies to our cities.
And how often do you meet?
We meet every quarterly. So this quarterly was Weslaco's turn to host. So we switch every quarter. We do a different city, and we just rotate, and we kind of show off our city and say a little bit about our city. At the same time, we bring people to speak to us and kind of give us an update like this. Here in Weslaco, we had our state reps, Mando Martinez and Terry Canales, that came in and spoke a little bit about some issues that we have and how we can be more efficient and better in getting our issues heard and what we can do better.
Can you remember? Because I'm not sure, not attending this, some of it was, the media was allowed in, some that the media wasn't. So can you remember what Representative Martinez and Representative Canales had to say? What were their topics?
I think a lot of our topic was water, the lack of water and what we need to do to continue to be prepared for any upcoming issues when it comes to the water. Of course, all over the valley, we hear about, the water issues and our infrastructure, of course, comes with that. So it was a lot of it had to do with those topics. I believe the other one was on just, again, how we can be better as a team to go and address these issues and what we need to do, what information we need from each other to make sure that when we go up there, we're on the same page.
When this group started 2 or 3 years ago, the driving force I always felt was the San Antonio mayor, Ron Nirenberg. Mm-hmm. But of course, he was term limited, so he left. Mm-hmm. With him gone, is San Antonio still playing a big role, and they really are part of this still?
Yes, they're a big part of it. And Mayor right now, she is of course catching up to with and learning as she goes, but she always pops in, whether it's through Zoom or I know in Washington they had a trip to Washington that I could not attend, but they were up there as well. So she's very involved.
Gina Ortiz.
Yes, Mayor Ortiz.
In fact, as you mentioned that, we got an interview with Mayor Cowan from Brownsville the other day. He said he was in Washington for the U.S. Mayors, Conference of Mayors. Mm-hmm. I get names, I don't always remember the names. But he was saying before that meeting started, and he chaired a panel on immigration, there was also a meeting with different agencies, including the White House, from your group.
Yes.
That alliance was in D.C.
Yes, they had met. They had a couple of meetings as far as with the Washington the White House group, and a lot of the topics were, of course, our big issue when it comes to ICE and how it's affecting the Rio Grande Valley and our cities. So I know that one of those topics was speaking on immigration and the situation with ICE.
Have you had any feedback as to how they got on up there?
I haven't spoken to Mayor Cowan, which I will probably get with him next week, just to get an update on how it went with the group over there. I believe it was Mayor Cowan and Mayor Sepulveda from Harlingen that were able to make it. I know it's cold weather, and I know their flights were canceled. It took a while to get there, but they got there. So next week, I'm going to sit down with Mayor Cowan and kind of get an update on how it went.
And was Mayor Ortiz from...
I believe, yes, Mayor Ortiz was up there as well.
And so going back to your meeting in Weslaco, did you coming out of that, did you agree an agenda? Like your top bullet point items?
Yeah, the bullet point. Well, basically, what we spoke about in the agenda was what were we going to talk about in Washington, and what meetings were going to be set for the Washington trip. So we did come up with a lot of. Again, we set up these meetings with White House staff and agencies. So again, next week I will get with Mayor Cowan to see how that went. But a lot of good comes out of these meetings. We start talking about our cities, issues that we may have, and what they did to overcome those issues and those obstacles. And we kind of just say, why reinvent the wheel? You know what I mean? So we kind of bounce ideas off each other and implement it in our cities. So every time we meet, it's always positive. It's always positive. It's always great ideas. And it's always just for the betterment of our cities.
You mentioned ICE. Do you have a specific agenda position on that? Do you have as a group, do you have this is what we would like to see, this is what the administration is doing well, this is what they're not doing well?
Well, when it comes to ICE, it's a very sensitive subject, when it comes to us, because we run in a nonpartisan, and it's in the federal level. There's not much we can do, but we do share our feelings and how it is and the impact that it's having in our cities. We have a lot of, I think it's the South Texas construction. The
South Texas Builders
Association. I attended one of their meetings, and I heard the impact that they're having. With these individuals that are their work sites are getting raided and work's not being completed because of these raids, and it impacts a lot here in the Rio Grande Valley. Restaurants, people that are working. The business goes down. People are not coming, or people are not going out because they're scared of all these raids. But there's a bigger impact when it comes to that. And I always see the big picture, and it trickles down to our school districts. Because now parents may be scared to send their kids to school. And the students at school are not going to be able to concentrate on what they're doing because they're worried about their parents or what's going around, So it's a big impact. And if these kids don't attend school, well, what are they going to be doing? We're out there enforcing these because of the violence and all these individuals that may have backgrounds or may have warrants. But what are we really doing? If these kids are not in school, they're going to get involved maybe with the wrong people, and the violence, and they may turn to violence. We don't know, but just the fact that I understand what ICE is doing and what the goal is, but sometimes, especially here in the Rio Grande Valley, I feel it more as a target. They're targeting people. And there's a lot of good people here in the valley. There's a lot of hardworking citizens here, and there's a lot of hardworking permit individuals that have their work permits that are here. And so I just think that there's a better way to get things done.
There's a report just come out today at the national level saying that only 14% of those arrested by ICE have criminal records.
Yeah.
It's not a high percentage.
It's not a high percentage at all, and even in these individuals that get pulled out and have to go to these detention centers or wherever they go, and then later on to find out, oh, you know what, you're clear. Well, you just put that individual in a situation where mentally, it messes with you, and
So you mentioned the schools. Have you heard from your Weslaco schools that this is an issue for them?
I haven't heard much on Weslaco schools, but again, I just think outside the box and I think about the big picture. And I'm just, I've heard in talks, with people that were saying, hey, maybe our schools are getting hit because a lot of the attendance, are going down because of kids being scared to go to school. You hear in the news how, some all over the world, right, in different parts of the United States, how these ICE agents are going into schools and pulling kids out, so people listen to social media, and well, you know what? It's gonna hit us here at home.